Hi everyone, this is Menz here. Going to be starting out with WZ120 for tonight's stream. Once again, still trying to get enough credits to purchase the 121. And yeah, getting a little bit closer. About 2.3 million credits away. Going to hopefully get away or get out of the way a lot of it tonight. Going to be playing quite a few, hopefully tier 8 premium tanks tonight. But a lot of WZ120, T-37 light tank, and of course premium tanks. Not that bad of a map to start out with though. Pretty flat map here for the WZ120, since of course it does not have very good gun depression with the 122mm gun on it. I'm gonna see how many of these tier 10 mediums head over to the 8 to 9 line, because I might not go over there, even though that's kind of more for mediums, just because I don't want to fight on the little bit of hilly terrain that's over there. Alright, so it looks like at least the 140s are heading that way, so I'm gonna kind of stick on the left here and try to help out my heavier tanks over here. I actually really like this map. For a lot of the newer maps that are more city-like, I think this is one of the more well-balanced maps of the bunch. I'm not gonna push too far there yet. I'm gonna see if I can... Ooh, I'm actually getting a little bit of lag here. I can sometimes get some cheap damage off here in the beginning, because the enemy team usually likes to push pretty hard. Like that Centurion did. I'm gonna see if I can... I thought I might get lucky to be able to take out the train track, or the... Not the train track. The railroad car. Be able to get to the bat chat. Not looking... crap, that's a wasted shot there. Alright, I guess I... Holy crap, this E100. It's not even worth helping that guy, honestly. He's already taken way too much damage. I guess I could have just sat here. I'm gonna try to get over to help. I see there's an IS-7 here, but I'm not too concerned about him. I should have honestly pushed over a little bit sooner here to help out. Hopefully not take too much damage from this bat chat here. Of course he kind of scooted away. Fortunately I do not have any gun depression whatsoever to push around this little eeny bitty incline here. Hoping this T-54 gives me a helping hand. It's not help he damaged my ammo rack, but nonetheless not in a terrible situation here. Yet. And shit, he just shot. This IS-7, of course, has some shots on me, but I'm gonna take my chances pushing. God damn it. That was bad for me, and I'm still stuck out in front. Yeah, that was a pretty bad miss for my own doing there. I aimed a little bit too much for his track, unfortunately. Yeah, and another little mistake there, forgetting about that IS-7, of course. Okay, never mind. Thank God I bounced. I had run into a little bit of rubble there. I don't play this map too much. I like it, but unfortunately I don't get it all that often. I was a little lucky too. I knew that guy was coming up. I didn't think he'd be there that close though. Or that soon. God damn it. I thought he had a slightly longer reload than that, honestly. I guess he has... Yeah, he has the 128 on there, it looks like. I thought he had the other gun. Oh well. Definitely a little bit bad playing there for me. Whew. Yeah, at least you're almost there, Uber Do Maneuver. That's pretty close to the Waffle Trigger. Yeah, last night was a little bit frustrating towards the end there. Glad you watched it. Hopefully, you enjoyed some of it. Like the Bat Chat game was pretty fun. I thought I was gonna do pretty bad last night in the Bat Chat, and it turned out pretty well. At least on that Live Oaks battle. But yep, see ya next time. Maybe I'll see in game. I might be on a few times earlier on in the morning / afternoon this upcoming week in World of Tanks. For anybody else watching though, feel free to request tanks if you'd like me to play them, or if you have other questions you'd like me to answer. Unfortunately, that first match I made quite a few mistakes, and yeah, I'm a little frustrated. I want the WZ-120 to work out. I just never can get it to work out the way I want it to, just because of that gun depression. It's just a stat that's, honestly, I don't know why it's not listed in the client. You can find it on websites. Oh god, that IS is gonna struggle with that gun. But I really think that's one of the key stats. So yeah, Uber, yeah, you can't change your teams. I know that all too well, and anybody who plays World of Tanks does, or let alone any online game. But sometimes you just gotta try to do the best for yourself, and unfortunately last night I was making quite a few mistakes myself as well, so I can't really blame anybody except for myself. I'm getting a little bit of lag here. I wonder, I don't think it's on my end. It might be though. But who knows, at least my FPS is decent. It's just on my end, I don't know if it's visible. My mouse is feeling like jello sometimes. I think something, I forgot to exit out in the background. Alright, so we got 2 Jagged Tigers here. And do I want to switch over to an APCR round? I might. Now there's no artillery though, so I'm going to take this T-10's place, if you'd let me. Since I have really good frontal armor, don't have to worry about SPGs, of course, in that location. Ooh, no fire extinguisher, or at least no auto fire extinguisher. Gotta love that. And I don't run an auto one on all my tanks either. Depends on their fire chances. So I should be pretty well off here against that IS-3. You can't really damage me. You just really have to worry about the Jagged Tigers and if someone gets around to my sides in this tank. Take that guy out because I can't reach that IS-3 with my gun depression right now. Didn't expect that T-34 to pop out there. I'm gonna push up here. They should be able to get in. Yep. Let's keep the ball rolling here. I should be okay against them. At least for a couple shots. I don't want to get into too much trouble, but whew, I'm really lucky he deflected that. I'm gonna leave that. Maybe I'm not gonna leave that guy. These guys are kind of screwed at this point. I'm just hesitating a little bit to push because that guy shot me and this guy looks like he was trying to shoot me. But in any event, we definitely won this flank just by sheer force. But I don't know why that PZ-58 pushed down or this IS-3. Yeah. It's like they're baiting you in there to drown. Yeah, usually when there's only one artillery, sometimes, like I said earlier, there's no artillery. I just kind of I kind of glance over them and forget, but if there's only one, I just kind of play almost like there's no artillery. They can't shoot your entire team, so sometimes you can kind of get away when there's only one with being out in the open and not really worrying too much. Once I get hit by them, then I kind of adjust my area a little bit and get into cover. Alright, so we kind of beat the enemy here to the base. Hopefully this IS-3 hangs back because I do not want him to die by the PZ-58, which he's going to do if he continues to push. Yep. A little bit more armor here, buddy. Still gotta worry about the SPG, which is most likely right there. But unfortunately, he's just a little bit too far for me to warrant pushing through. Unless this KV-4 ends up spotting me, I'm just gonna hope I'm a little bit lucky and don't get spotted by anybody. Hello, Christy 98. If there's any specific tanks you'd like me to play, feel free to mention them, or if you have any questions as well. Yeah, fortunately, I'm gonna definitely get spotted here, so I'm gonna push up on my terms. And there we go, still capped out. Better than sitting back. We still would have capped out, but a little bit less damage had I just sat back there. Better just to go face the guy where I wanted to face him. So not that bad of a match here. Mastery badge 2nd class. 4,000 damage, not too shabby in the VK. And block 2,400 damage. Just seeing how the WZ match ended up here. Yeah, like I thought, I didn't exactly do too well. Had I not made those mistakes, we would have probably won. Alright, there we go. Excuse my O's there. That's my button for push to talk. Alright, so let's hop into something a little bit more low tier. I should honestly fix my tanks here for a second, which any tanks anybody wants me to play, these are the tanks I have here. Towards the end, I don't always have crews for them unless they're premium tanks, so feel free to pick from any of these if you'd like me to play them. A lot of the ones here, of course, are premiums. I have crews for them. Let's get through here. All right, 6. I don't want to hop into a Hellcat. Hellcat, definitely not a tank I'm excellent at, but it can still be pretty good even though it's been nerfed several times. We got the short end of the straw here. But the Hellcat still could be a pretty good support / sniper tank. Not exactly how I like to play, but nonetheless, it can perform pretty well. Alrighty now, so I'm going to try not to get too far up here. Probably gonna end up going down here, to be honest. In the beginning, I don't know, honestly. It's just a Hellcat in a tier 8 match. You can be one-shot at by quite a few tanks. Not, which everybody there can see, tank killer. I'm gonna see what this T-37 does. I might try to support him a little bit. Okay, never mind. The T-37 did not push far. And unfortunately, not a... You got it. You're not in a very good spot, tank killer. Let's say, unfortunately, that Cromwell slipped by.
Enemy armor is hit.
There's no artillery, so I don't have to worry too much about that.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Fortunately, AMX CDC is sitting there in front of me. Ooh, never mind, there's another little light tank here. Gotta be careful about him. Unfortunately, the Hellcat low HP and almost no armor whatsoever. But I will try to help this guy out. I'm gonna get over to a slightly different spot that should be able to give me a couple shots without these guys having a bead on my last known position. Alright, never mind, they got that guy out. Alright, let's see if I get lucky here.
Enemy armor is hit.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little difficult to push out in this tank if people know where you are. I'd like to reposition, but I don't have too many options open to me right now. The Hellcat's been nerfed as far as turret traverse and hull traverse, so it's a little bit difficult to actually push on guys in this tank. That's why I'm kind of hanging back a hair. Granted, I could have stayed where I was at before. Ooh, that helped out a little bit. I was like 4 HP? Come on, guys. There we go. At least we got him. So I have a Cromwell behind me. Fortunately, they got that M41 Bulldog. But this tank, the reason why I struggle with it is a lot is my patience runs out at times, and you cannot move a flank in this. Ooh, that helps out a little bit there.
Armor tracks is
Oh
damaged.
god, I bounced a shot. I got a little bit lucky there. I didn't think anybody else was back there, but I guess it kind of makes sense the T-25/2's there. Let's see if I can move a little bit over to get a shot on this Tiger if he continues to push. Nope, never mind. Looks like he's not. Oh god. It's not good. Alright, there's a KV-2 behind me.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Not that he's not allowed to be there, but I was like, why am I not moving backwards? Not good, not good. Sorry, buddy, I tried to take him out there for you, but... Oh, Lord. Just seeing if I got lucky there, but I should have stayed aimed in, to be honest. But I should be able to catch him once he pushes up here. I should be able to spot him. Or not. Hello, Aston. Thanks for the subscriber or subscribe. Gordon, I am doing a platooning here and there. Right now I'm platooning with Tank Killer. He has up to tier 6. Which there's a slight, about 30-40 second delay, so anybody looking to join in between battles, if there's a slot, a few seconds ahead here. Alright, so not that bad of a match. One of my better Hellcat matches. Mastery Badge First Class. A little under 1500 damage. And a little bit of assist damage, but not too much there. Alright, so why don't we switch into something a little bit different. Yes, I do. Alright, I'm very bad at inviting people here. I just don't platoon that often, so I always have to remind myself. Alright, so the KV-1 here. Pretty decent tank all around. A little bit slow, but in the end... And its main weakness is just its slowness, and of course facing against higher tiers, its armor is a little bit lacking. Like, it's good for tier 5 heavy, but tier 6s and 7s won't have any trouble facing off against a KV-1. But it does have a pretty good gun. Has a lot of different gun options, and I don't use the derp gun. Some people do, but really it just comes down to a preference. I like the... pretty sure 85mm here. I could be wrong now. Maybe 86mm, I forget, since I don't play the KV-1 all too often. Alright, so my buttons down there don't want to work, unfortunately. And they always get messed up a little bit by the way I run my microphone. And sometimes the UI doesn't exactly like to play friendly with me. Alright, so there's 2 OIs on the enemy team. Fantastic. I'm honestly probably going to end up over here and try to push that side. We have 2 OIs ourselves as well as a ARL-44. They should be pretty well off in this city if they play it right, if they're not too aggressive. Hello, Kid Nerf. To anybody here, if you would like any tanks played specifically, feel free to mention them. I guess I could have hit that Electo. Oh well. Right now, I can play anything from tier 3 to tier 6. Don't have all the tanks in the world, but I have a decent amount of the popular tanks. Well, I should say popular classic tanks, since I don't exactly have a lot of the new branches. Which, whew, they got some pretty good shots there early on. Hopefully they can keep up the fight here. This side isn't going to bring me any glory, but especially if I don't do any damage to an AMX ELC. Oh well. But I figured we would need somebody on this side, and I took it upon myself to come over here. I don't know why our ARL-44 is running over here now, but in any event, he is. Ah, nice first live stream, kid. Glad you're joining us here. Like I said a little bit earlier, there's a slight delay on the stream, about 30 seconds, so it might take me a second to answer you. I guess screwed up that shot by driving over. Alright, guess the ARL-44 did help. Hello again, Abdul. I know which tank you're gonna request tonight. Alright, so our team's getting chewed apart now. They finally came back down to earth. Unfortunately, I just clipped myself on that pile of rubber, or rubble. Not rubber. It could be rubble, or rubber though, but yeah. Alright, so this is actually going to turn a little bit difficult for us, even though we have an advantage. Right now we're kind of splintered into two groups while the enemy is going to regroup here and probably come back to their base. Although at this point we might do a nice shot on him. I thought I might be able to take him out there, but there's that little building he was stuck behind. But at least we're going to get a cap out here. And no more shot for me. Oh well. But at least we got a nice quick win there. I don't really care about capping people out, so instead of killing everybody, let's get through the match, move on to the next one. So Mastery Badge 3rd class, not too much damage there by any of us, and we really took the weak flank there. Alright, so tier 6, I will hop into KV2. Yeah, I'll play the bat chat in a little bit, Abdul. Right now, with platoon with tank killer and fire dog, they only have up to tier 6. Ooh, matchmaker does not like us tonight. Whenever another high tier match here, but in any event, can't get too picky. Now, I'm just kind of looking at the enemy team here as far as where I'm going to want to go. I'll probably end up over city side, but the valley wouldn't be the worst possible choice for me either. I'm going to kind of see where my teammates end up. If they end up pushing somewhat hard in the valley, this side isn't actually that bad to push from. Yes, you still have to account for the poor terrain there, but it's much easier to push the valley from this side than the other side, as far as what I've seen in public matches. Looking at what we're going to have in the valley, though, I'm going to go this way. And actually, I'm going to turn back and help them out, because only having an OI and T-71 over there, I'm going to stick over here and hope the town does decent. I was going to set up right about here in the town just so I can have shots on these two little corridors here. But I'll go to the valley since it's a little bit weak. If I didn't, I would feel bad if we got pushed on and flanked. Gotta be a little bit careful about their artillery. Just trying to get past this guy because I'm a little bit faster than him. Oh no, I hit that little invisible wall there. But if they don't have any armored tier 8s here, we can push this pretty well with me and OI. Okay, so they have a little bit more tanks than initially thought here. Ooh, M44, why are you pushing out there? Right, so that's not good. I'm gonna just take a little bit. No, M6, what are you doing, dude? It's like, what the hell, dude? You don't park right behind somebody and frickin' push them out in front of all the enemies. Like, pisses me off a little bit. At least I got a little bit of damage on that guy, but that just completely ruined things. M6. Hello, Zachary. But yeah, we're gonna be a little screwed here. And of course my gunner got knocked out. Alright, so we got this super Persian. Whack him there for a decent amount of damage, but doubtful I'm gonna get another shot off here. Alright. Unless for whatever reason they bounce off of me again, but come on, shoot. There we go, a little bit more damage there, but yeah. That did not end too well for me. I'm doing decent. How are you doing, Zach? But one thing you never want to do in World of Tanks is park right behind somebody or drive right behind somebody. If that person gets tracked, you both get screwed. And in that case, if you stop, like I did, because there's a ton of enemies in front of you, you're just going to run right into the person in front of you. But really, I don't know. We weren't going to finish that fight well unless we were back in B3, B4. And even then, it was a little bit of a stretch, but yeah. The M6 pushing me into the enemies didn't exactly help out. These fire dogs trying to defend here, but really at this point there's not much anyone can do. I'm just gonna hop out of here. Hello, Tunster. Alright, so let's pick something a little bit differently here. I haven't played the AT2 in quite some time. Now I do use the little dinky 6-pounder, but you don't really have too much gun choices on this tank, unfortunately. Or hell, did they remove a gun from this? I almost thought when I initially... Okay, there are other guns, but of course I don't have them since I'm readied up. Whew. Warning for you, Abdul. Yeah, 7:34 a.m. Yeah, it's about 6:30 here over in the US. But the AT2, it does have a couple gun options, but I like the little dinky 6-pounder. This tank's really just about armor, which in the current game doesn't really fit in too well because people can use premium rounds and just kind of laugh at your armor at times, especially if you're facing off against higher tiers. But AT2, if you're facing off against a lot of 4s and 5s, pretty much feels like a mouse at tier 5. Yeah, I was kind of happy to see those super Persians not pushing on me that hard, but I was happy to see them since with HE hitting those top cupolas on top of the turret, you can do a crap ton of damage to them. You can almost penetrate them with an HE round up there in a KV2. And you actually can if you get a little bit lucky. Alright, so I guess I'm gonna... I have no idea where I want to head. But yet again, another game where kind of low tier, which I don't particularly see it as grim as some other people might, being the bottom tier, but it is a little bit annoying having it game after game. But especially in a tank like this, if I'm in a faster tank or a tank like a KV2, you can still do damage. But AT2, this is going to be a miracle here if my armor holds up and if I can get some damage off here. As far as the gun goes, penetration wise, it's severely lacking in damage and APCR. But this tank is definitely not known for its armor, and again, only 450 HP being low tiered, definitely not a good thing. Yeah, I could go run away into AT2 and survive a little bit, but I'm hoping to, seeing as there's no enemies except for this guy, I'm probably going to end up right on top here and try my luck from up here. Granted, never mind, there's an E25. I might... Yep, I got a little bit of damage off. Oh my god. He is tracked, and he's gone. I helped there. Yeah, Fire Dog on here is Gordon H, and Tank Killer, I don't know exactly what his name here on YouTube is. But I'm going to be platooning maybe a couple more games with them since they only can go up to tier 6. Then I'm going to hop into a couple higher tier battles. Kid Nerf, I can play the FCM50T, or I'm going to play the Bat Chat for Abdul, but unfortunately I don't have any AMX series tanks. Alright, Mr. VK. Am I going to be able to damage you? Yes, I am. But unfortunately, yeah, I did not want to do this. There's this AMX over here I might be able to get a shot on if I'm lucky. There we go. I got a kill! Even though the penetration is low on this, you can make it work sometimes. Just you have really limited spots where you can penetrate people. Just really avoid heavier tanks. But we need to push, and unfortunately I'm not exactly able to push out here alone and hope that my armor holds up the whole time. Alright, I need to bait this guy. There we go. No, I don't have a shot on you. Alright, I'm gonna need to blow my repair kit here just to get down a little bit. Oh, that's not good. Never mind. My engine's out. I'm gonna die. I'm definitely gonna die. I probably should have stayed up there, but I was getting a little bit weary of getting hit by an SPG. But I was surprised I lasted that long. It's just unfortunate that our tanks back here weren't pushing up when really there's only 2 tanks there. Yeah, never mind. That guy's pushing up, but really, there wasn't that much threat to those guys if they had pushed up a little bit sooner, since they're all shooting at me. I was about to say, don't do it. But at the end of the day, I think we accomplished a little bit more than their low tiers. Alright, so I'm going to hop out of here and see how that KV2 game... Yeah, I can play a Cromwell. Alright, so let's see how the lake... of course we lost it. Not too much of a surprise there, but... decent amount of damage, I think, considering facing off against 8s, Mastery Badge 3rd class, almost 2,000 damage, almost the most amount on my team and the match. So I'll take that in a KB2. Alright, so Cromwell, I think I've got it all the way back. Maybe I set it as a primary tank. I have the Comet. Sorry, I don't have the Cromwell. My bad there. But, yeah, unfortunately I don't have the Cromwell. I can play the Comet later if that helps. Hello, Martin. Nice to see you again. But I'll probably play 1 or 2 more matches here with these guys, and then I'll hop into some higher tier tanks. No cooking today. I was pretending to be an electrician today, which didn't exactly go too well. Not my fault though. People before who owned this house definitely did some things a little funky with the electric. Alright, so again, bottom of the list. Kind of daunting again, facing off against that platoon of heavy tanks too. That's the... yeah. That's one of the problems is... like, I like World of Warships a little bit better, balance-wise, between the tiers, because HP is kind of less of a factor. You're not going to be killed in 3 shots. Just because you're in a battleship like 2 tiers lower than somebody else. But unfortunately, yeah, I can play the Fury, which does kind of play like the Cromwell. But in World of Tanks, unfortunately, being a tier or 2 lower is a huge negative, as many of you probably know. And balance-wise, it is kind of a kick in the nuts before you even start the match. So I'm gonna try to weasel my way into the center here to try to get something done. Got a little lucky there, scooting by there, but I knew they didn't see me yet, so I took my chance. I was not lucky here, unfortunately. And that guy was waiting for me. I got a little bit too antsy there. I'm just trying to push up a little bit. Hello, GG. My team's playing very
Critical hit.
passively here, and this T-29 is probably gonna wreck me. Yeah, or not. I'm pleasantly surprised. Granted, tank killer didn't make out too well there. Fortunately, I've got... Come on, guys, push up. No, nobody. Alright, so I'm not going to last too long here when this T-34 comes up. Unfortunately, the KV-4 kind of ditched me. But yeah, I can play the Fury my next battle. It's unfortunate I have this IS-5 behind me. Yeah, I'm kind of stuck in a pretty bad spot here. Oh god. And yeah, I get Panther. I'm gonna hope to get one more shot off. Something. Alright, maybe I'll get lucky here and I can... Nope. Definitely not. I was trying to track the Jagged Panther. Alright, so that didn't exactly go well. Yeah, I usually still play aggressive even if I am the bottom tier sometimes. Unfortunately, Martin, I can get to a Tiger 2 later on. That's the only Tiger I have. Just right now I'm only able to play up to tier 6 right now. Alright, so let's see how the Fury ends up here. Oh my god, we got good matchmaking. It's probably the first match of tonight, platooning wise, that we got a pretty decent matchmaking spread as far as where we're at for top tier. Watch, it's probably going to be my worst game of the bunch too. Alright, just kind of looking at the enemy team. I actually might end up going to the hill. Only because they have the 2 Skodas over there. Yeah, I do prefer the Jumbo to the E8. Just because both tanks struggle against higher tiers. However, I'd much rather have the E8 in games where you're not facing off against a bunch of 7s and 8s compared to the EZ8. Just because the E2's armor does work pretty well against 5s and 6s. But each have their own distinct playstyle, of course. Some people prefer the E8, some prefer the E2. I like tanks with a little bit more armor usually. Yeah, I probably wouldn't come up here if I was KV1. By the time he gets up here, we're either gonna win this little fight up here, or we're gonna have lost it. Yep, see ya, Kid Nerf. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, Jerry, I do like the Fury. Not only does Brad Pitt command it, but I felt a little weird saying that. But it's a pretty good tank if you like American tanks. Ooh, I was just trying to squeak by there. Saw that M6 and the PZ pop up, and I was like, oh god.
Enemy is hit.
Took a little bit of
Enemy
a...
armor is hit.
Ooh, never mind, we got quite a few tanks here.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
Okay, miss his shot.
Critical hit.
Fortunately, though,
Enemy armor is
I'm
damaged.
just barely missing his weak spot. I do have the T-28 prototype. I don't have the standard T-28. Just trying to get him to miss.
Enemy is
So
hit.
I can, there we go, get him knocked out. Just trying to get the Skoda there.
Enemy armor is damaged.
We gotta be a little bit careful of our backside.
Penetration.
Let's play a little bit defensive here.
We've lost a troop.
Ooh, there we go. I got a little bit lucky. I wasn't paying too much attention here.
Let's roll.
Alright, now this Skoda, I can tank his shot, so I'm gonna push right into him. I am vulnerable to shots over here, but I'm gonna take a chance and push on this M6. Not that he has a ton of HP. Ooh, I guess he made the smart move there of pushing up. It's unfortunate for
Enemy
him.
armor is damaged.
We have a little bit more HP than him. Yeah, I'm an aimbot, dude. If only he saw how bad my aim was sometimes. He's in a tank with no armor, and he was just pulling out in front of me, so... Let's see my luck here. I don't want to sit there and snipe against a T-150. Much rather get behind him here, that way we have him, ooh god, on both sides, but unfortunately now
Our engine power.
I'm off against this KV-1S and 8 HP, come on.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
I get so many of them now. I'm a little bit hesitant to push now, but that was a pretty good shot. Or a pretty good time by him. I gotta be a little careful now because I'm one-shottable. Just gotta be careful. We're still ahead on tanks, so... that guy is complaining about cheating too. It's like our team should be well back there. Hopefully they don't do anything stupid. And of course, just as I push up, he pushes up too. I actually have a shot on him. If I can actually hit him, though. Accuracy isn't the best on this, nor is the penetration, but I'm gonna try my best here. It's definitely a little bit iffy, considering he's got a decent amount of penetration, and I only have enough room to make one mistake here. Or I don't have room to make any mistakes, and unfortunately, yeah, he got me. But, decent there, but hopefully our team's able to pull this off, because if we get capped out here, it's going to be a little bit embarrassing, considering the amount of tanks we have back there. Granted, our actual tanks don't have that much HP. Ooh, that's good. Alright, so at least this looks like it's going to work out pretty well. Alright, so at least this seems like it's going to be a win. I was a little bit worried there for a second. Alright, so yeah, that was actually a pretty good match there. Thanks, Tunster. So I'm going to hop into the bat chat now, since Abdul asked for it a little bit ago. As far as other tanks, I think somebody asked for a Tiger 2, T-28 prototype potentially. I'll play the bat chat first though, and then potentially hop to tier 8. Alright. Yeah. Why do I do that? Alright, so the bat chat here. Not exactly my best tank in the world. I have a lot of misses compared to hits with this as far as how I do. M46, unfortunately I do have the M48A1 Patton though. I can play that for you, Tunster. It's like the M46 is a little bit hard to play. I assume that you mean... I don't know if you're meaning tier 8 premium or if you're meaning the actual M46 tier 9. But tier 9 is a little bit difficult because one of the original tier 9 mediums, and honestly it's a little bit underpowered just because it's decent at everything, but really it's just a hold down tank. You just want to play to its advantage having a kind of small turret, good gun depression, and decent gun. Now this map, I will honestly say I'm not expecting much out of myself here with the bat chat. Of course that guy kind of took my plan there of peeking up and spotting. Alright. HV is pushing up though. He's making it tempting. Yeah, once I pushed up there, I saw the AMX 30 go. I was like, shit, this is a... thanks a lot, T30. Granted, I was the one who pulled behind him. Yeah, the Persian is better for its tier compared to the Patton. A little T71, and I missed you. I really don't like playing this tank sometimes. This is one of those matches where it's really difficult to be able to flank, since a lot of the map is connected except for the beach. But the beach is pretty much useless. Ah shit, I guess I could have held off my reload. But the bat chat, I just find it's just too iffy for random battles a lot of the times. Works well if you have another bat chat or medium with you, so you can kind of cover your reload and not run into the problem of getting a tank down to like 400 HP and then having to reload your drum. And yeah, I didn't know if he could see me, but I guess he can. Ah shit. Yeah, at least I got a bounce there, but I am doing piss poor here in the bat chat. And can't really blame anybody but myself here. I got myself in a pretty crappy spot, and now that the enemy has pushed up as far as they have, don't really have too much places to hide. But fortunately, there's no artillery. Got that going for me. Alright, so he's pushing back. I'm honestly going to push over here. I know what he was trying to do. I would like to reposition, but I'm afraid to kind of leave this area, because once I push out of here, it'll be a little bit difficult getting back anywhere that's not my base. Crap, I just wasted a shot there. And at least that FV did us the favor of pushing out of that little bowl. So that's going to help me out a little bit. I'm honestly going to push into here. There shouldn't be any enemies. I'll wait a second. Don't want to get too close to where they can spot me just by being close to them. But unfortunately, your gun depression is not too great in this. Yay, I got a little lucky shot there. Oh god. Ooh, I was not expecting the E5 there. I thought he was still up there. That's a little bit of a fault on my side. I guess I was being a little bit too aggressive for low HP. I could have pushed a little bit further away to get closer to their cat, but oh well. So decent battle there in the Fury. Alright, so we got a mastery badge first class. Decent amount of damage between the two of us. And yeah, not that bad credit wise. Since you asked for the M46 Patton, which I don't have unfortunately, I will play an M48A1 for you. And then after that, I'll hop down a tier to the Tiger 2 and T28 prototype. If anybody wants to platoon at tier 8, I'm open to that. I think Gordon wanted the platoon. Alright, so we got Sand River Assault here. Got a wargaming person on the other side. Hopefully I'll be able to kill him. Yeah, Overlord. I like Overlord in tanks with good gun depression and actual turret armor, which Bat Chat has neither. And for tanks like that, I don't like playing Overlord, but for most tanks I get that map on, I do particularly like it. I know it's modeled off of D-Day, but I do feel like the beach might be better off kind of being left out, and honestly that portion of the map just be not capable of being driven on. That way they can kind of expand to other areas a little bit more and just have that cliff for a visual presence. I think that would make it a little bit better, honestly, but who knows. So I'm going to head over this way. I don't see too many people heading this way. Never mind. I see the E100. But I don't particularly want to go to the center just because there is artillery. And I'm going to hopefully kind of rally behind my heavy tanks here. I'm taking a little bit too long to get here, but I don't know what this T-49 is doing. A little bit of a mystery, but I'll gladly kill him. Yeah, the FCM, that might be a little bit difficult to play on Overlord, I can see that. Unfortunately, they do have the Conqueror gun carrier, so I'm not going to be already safe over here. I played that. I just ran into that guy. It looks like on purpose, but I was trying not to hit him, and I pretty much drove myself right into him. So hopefully Artie's not going to focus on me, and I'm going to be able to... I don't know what our T-49 was planning, but that was not a smart move on his part. Alright. Pretty sure that little tank is right there. Damage. M48 is making it a little bit easy for me here if he keeps pulling out like that, which it doesn't seem like he's gonna stop. But I will gladly trade shots with him now, considering my HP is a lot higher than his. But I'll be a little bit more prepared now. Since he backed up, I'm able to aim in all the way. Maybe I'll be able to... It's not looking to... I should have taken that shot, honestly. But... oh, shit. I was expecting him just to inch up a little bit further there. Oh, God. Ah, why'd I do that? Bad Cody. Here we go. Never mind, I've been. Ooh. Push him up. That helped out a little bit there. And I got nuked. I had to expect that, but I knew it was coming eventually, but I was hoping he wasn't going to aim for me, and unfortunately he pretty much hit me dead on there, it looks like. I didn't hear any splash, but I was kind of rolling the dice there and it didn't work out, but hopefully I helped my team out enough. Alright, so let's hop into a different battle here. Yeah, we did win the batch hack game at least. Glad to see that. Didn't do too well in it, but at least I contributed to the win somehow. And I didn't blow up in the first 30 seconds. Alright, so hopping down to tier 8 here. Hop into the Tiger tank. Yeah, it's all the way back here. Hope we don't get a tier 10 match here, but yeah, I don't know what that enemy. Ooh, we did get a tier 10 match. I don't know what that enemy M48 was trying to do, but I have no idea. But hell, he survived longer than I did, it looks like, so. But some people, I don't know. That kind of goes over their heads. Granted, I was taking a few more shots than I wanted to against him. So seeing the amount of enemy mediums, I'm gonna shy over to the left side here. Tiger 2, this is probably a pretty bad map for it here. I find it better to not to play as a support tank, but kind of like a heavy medium. But unfortunately against tier 9 and especially tier 10 tanks, its armor, even its upper glacis, can't really withstand shots. So I'm going to hope that I can kind of help out the team over here, but let's see. At least there's an enemy 100 coming over, but they don't have too much other than that as far as armor goes. Ooh, that IS-3 is... he got lucky. He got tracked by that Panzer E-100. Alright, so our whole team's getting funneled towards these two guys. I might as well. Yeah, I agree. Tundra is too small. I think it's more of a tier 5 to tier 7 map than anything 8 and up, to be honest. Somebody's got to go face off against this E-100 here. Hopefully I get a little bit of help before he makes it all the way over here. Someone? Anyone? Oh god, he's coming on my left. This is gonna not go well. Of course he's pushing right to our RD, but not too much I can do here. Got a T-34 and an E-100. Like, what are those guys doing? They're pushing right past the freaking enemy, and yeah, now I'm in a bad spot. I was hoping my team was gonna come back and kind of help, but I guess I was wishful thinking there. Maybe I'll be able to get one more shot off. Maybe I'll get a little bit more lucky. I am pushing right into the T-34's shot, but I'm hoping to potentially just scoot out of it. And there we go, hide my lower glacis. Am I small enough to fit here? I would like to think so. Yeah. Somehow I survived though. Hopefully artillery doesn't aim at me or else I'll be screwed. Alright, so I hope that they can get this E-100. I'm gonna start heading back towards the base here. What's our E1? I know he's chasing after Artie, but Not going too well for him, it looks like. Alright, so I think since I'm the closest, I'm gonna head up this road here. No, AMX, go spot the frickin' base. That's a little bit more important than chasing after artillery, in my opinion. Here we go, let's hope this... I was hoping this guy might pull back, but no luck there. Here we go. A little bit of damage off on him. And 103 should be able to finish the job here. That worked out pretty nicely, I must say. Ooh, Lord. HE, HE, HE. Wish I had HE, I would have aimed a little bit better there. Kind of glad that they didn't have any HP. That made it a little bit easier. I was a little bit worried there for a second. Let's see if this guy pushes up again. He's probably not, but just in case. Alright. I guess this... Ooh, he's gonna... Yeah, I missed him. Never mind. Good job, AMX. You benefited from my reward there, kind of fumbling that shot there. Alright, so now it's down to the Object 140. Don't like his chances at survival, but stranger things have happened. So at least we won. When I saw that E100 and T-34 coming for me, I thought I was a goner, but glad that worked out in the end. Alrighty now, it's... Alright, so 1800 damage, not too bad. Fire Dog did a really good job too at a little over 1900. Still ate that little bit of a profit. Alright, so... Top into a preferential tank for him. Feel bad playing a full tier 8 and dragging him into tier 10 battles. Alright, so not exactly a bad matchup. Yeah, I went to the 1 to 2 line mainly because honestly, when I'm low tier, try to pick places where I'll be a little bit farther away from the enemies, where I thought where I set up would let me do that, compared to the hillside where I was going to be right in the enemy's face for the most part, or else I'd be in already zone where I could get nailed by that Object 261, but worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna actually head on this side, I think. Yep, got plenty of people over there. Usually the 9 to 0 line works out well. But yeah, I'd like to think I influenced that game a lot. Hopefully that's true. But yeah, after the first few platoon matches earlier with matchmaking, I think it has a little bit of making up to do for us. I do have to worry about all those mediums beating me over here. Now, unfortunately, because of the gun depression, I didn't want to go to 9-0 line just because I knew plenty of people were going to head there. But with this gun depression on the WZ-111, I'm not going to head down the 3 to 4 line, which is usually where I end up, just because it's pretty important spot of the map to gain hold of. Type 59 did get a pretty good spot there on us, though. Ooh, I don't know why that Oho pushed in there, but I'm gonna hope to help him out here. I just don't want to end up hitting him. Fortunately, that was a pretty bad shot for my first shot there. I was just a little bit too worried about hitting my own guy to take a shot there. Yeah, this does look like an IS-8, so I can see where you thought that. Let's see if I get a little lucky, but accuracy on this thing, kind of non-existent. Fortunately, though, they definitely got us here. I'm gonna have to start worrying about over here, honestly. Okay. Can I get lucky here? Nope. WZ-111 is essentially an IS-6 with the pike nose design. And it's Chinese. Don't need a heat round, but obviously I did need a heat round there. But I still didn't penetrate. Trying to cover this guy's side armor a little bit, who's behind me. Unfortunately, we're getting flanked here, and our other flank is flanking them, but don't exactly know if this is exactly the best trade-off for us here. But frontal armor-wise, you have a pretty good amount of armor on this. It's definitely a little bit different than the IS-6, but until people start loading gold, which E25 is a pretty good angle on me, it looks like, it can hold up pretty well frontally. You just can't really angle it like the IS-6. Can I get a shot on this guy? Nope. I'm almost through my heat too. I don't know why I'm still on it, honestly. But this Oho is gonna make me pay there. Unfortunately, I'm not really in the best spot in the world. Thank you. That damn E25, but once we lost here, I really wanted us to get this area. It's almost the most important area on the map, honestly. I can switch over to Fire Dog. But in the WZ-111, you don't have the gun depression to go there, so I was hoping our team could hold it, but unfortunately it didn't work out too well. I probably should have pulled back, honestly, though, once we lost this, just to have some presence there, but yeah. Unfortunately, I kind of sat there, and enemy ended up flanking us, and we didn't ever get any backup, which I would have turned around if I was that other flank instead of pushing their base, but yeah, not everyone sees things the same way, though. But the WZ-111 is a good tank. It's just accuracy sucks, penetration sucks, and gun depression sucks. Its armor, it's comparable to the IS-6, but the IS-6 is a little bit better than it now since the minor buffs it's had, and next patch it's going to be a lot better. Alrighty now, so let's see. Which, if there's any preferential tier 8s anybody wants me to play, I'll gladly play them. Feel free to mention them in chat. Yeah, if we had pushed castle, we might have did a little bit better, but honestly, I think pushing any further and we would have
开始行动。
died anyway, being flanked, but who knows. So I'm going to try to get down here. Hopefully the enemy platoon doesn't push there, but most likely they are. But it would be nice if we could grab here. We have a slight disadvantage getting to H3, H4 compared to the enemy, but it's possible. It doesn't make it any easier. That T-34 got a good spawn spot, and he's gonna basically cause us to kind of freeze here. But can't control everything. I'm gonna try to get a shot in this T-34 though. And unfortunately I bounced. I hit those goddamn track links that they added extra armor to when it went HD. Ooh, charioteer, or challenger. Basically the same tank. Alright guys, you need to back up. You don't have any armor. Not that I can't really say much right now because I keep bouncing off of everything. But alright. And doing no damage to a light tank that I should have damaged. Here we go, I got a little bit of damage in finally. Definitely gotta worry about that guy off to my side. Go a little bit here. Oh, I actually forgot there was a SPG here. Oh, that might have been a mistake pushing out there. Alright, IS-3, I'm going to try to help you here. Help me by pushing back out. Come on, you can do it. Somebody, kill him. Forgot there was a rock there behind me. Guess I should start using APCR like other people. Granted, I think I was a little over angled there, but it doesn't even feel like, or seem like they're aiming against me, these Type 59s. Here we go, they bounced off me. Unfortunately, Clocker, I do not have that premium tank. I'll kind of show the tanks that I have after this battle. I could play anything up to tier 8 since I'm platooning with Gordon here. 7 HP, are you kidding me? Oh, get out from behind me, IS-3. Had flashbacks to the M6 pushing me into enemies. I'm actually going to back up. I think our team's going to do well here, but I'm starting to be a little bit worried about Tiger 1 there and the Panther in the center. Ooh, that was a really high roll there for that T-34-3. I don't have the CDC, but I do have the FCM-50T. Yeah, screw this. I'm gonna pull back. Our team, I hope they're gonna do well down here. Never mind. I was a little bit worried there with the Tiger and the Panther, but they got them out, fortunately. Are you kidding me? Oh, god damn it. I do have to worry about this IS-6. Taking a little bit of a gamble here, but we can't let this guy get around us too much longer. Oh, that's a bad bounce for us. We're still going to get him out here, but still another low HP tank that could have been killed and just didn't work out that time. We should be pretty good against this IS-6 though. I took a little bit of a gamble there against this turret, but yeah, the FCM is a pretty inconsistent tank. I'll do my best playing it, but I kind of have the same experience as you. One good game, one bad game, and usually 5 bad games after that, then one good game. It's just a little bit too big and not enough armor on it. But yeah, unfortunately, Clocker, I'll kind of show my tanks before jumping into the FCM, but I don't have that premium. And unfortunately, I don't have a media account or any perks like people in Club Wargaming. Even though I run Wakuber.com, I pretty much fund everything myself. So unfortunately, I can't buy every single tank like some other people can. Ooh, that's not good. And I bounced off of him again. Granted, I wasn't really aiming that well, but that guy has gotten, I think, 3 lucky shots on the receiving end from me. Right, never mind. And I'm dead. Oh well. I should have known that would have happened, but at that point, we already have the win, so who really cares? But at least we're going to win here. Not that bad of a match either. Just a little bit of unlucky penetration and accuracy bounces, but it happens. Fortunately, I kind of stayed alive long enough to get some damage in. But yeah, premium tanks are quite expensive. I'm trying to limit myself. So right now, Master Group has 3rd class. Fire Dog inched me out just a hair, but a decent amount of damage for both of us. All in all, not that bad of a match. Yeah, I'm trying to limit myself to... Ooh, thank you, Fire Dog, or Gordon, for hopping into the Kang Panzer. I don't have it, but fortunately he has it. But, yeah, I'm trying to kind of limit myself to maybe 1 tank, maybe 2 per year as far as premiums go now. Kind of, as far as what I've spent on World Tanks, it's a little bit over $1,000, I think. But fortunately, as far as my websites and everything go, I kind of have it as expensive since I really only buy premium tanks now to do reviews and the kind of write guides for them for people. But right now, kind of holding off for a little bit before I get another one. But potentially I might pick up a CDC or a Kang Panzer. So I'm going to end up setting up over here in B9, B0. Even though I'm the top tier, this is more of a medium tank, and I'm going to try to initially see if I can get a few good shots on enemies in the north by setting up in a little safe spot up here. Granted, this E25 probably has the same thought as well as Fire Dog. And never mind, the E25's going somewhere else, so I don't feel as bad as I would have if he moved up here as well. But I like using this spot for anything with a lack of armor. Hopefully this VK doesn't push up here, though. especially tier 10 battles. If I'm in a medium tank, usually I pop over here. You can just get pretty good shots off without being seen. It does require some people being over here. Yeah, chill out, E25. As far as making money on YouTube, YouTube doesn't bring in that much. I can't disclose anything as far as making things. Google doesn't like that. But mainly, I always appreciate donations, whether it's through fan funding. It's on my main channel page and my main videos, and also through PayPal. But a lot of videos, I link over to my websites, kind of tie them into my guides. So in the long run, I get a decent amount of views, but as far as individual views per video, not exactly that high, because I don't exactly have the largest base, like you said, for people watching me. But I appreciate everyone who does watch me, since I recognize a lot of your guys' names, and it's nice to chat with you every time I stream. So pull back a little bit further so this guy doesn't see me. Be nice if I could stop hitting his strong armor here. There we go. But unfortunately, they're probably going to push pretty hard on us since we don't have that many people up there. This Persian should be able to get that guy, so I'm going to hop over to the OI. Maybe, there we go. He got the T-29. I was a little bit worried there for a second. Trying not to use APCR. I'm just trying to stay hidden here, of course. I'll take a lot of damage if I get spotted. Better for me just to keep my HP till later, to where I can kind of pretend like I'm a heavy tank. Seeing as we probably have a slight advantage here in the north, I'm going to push up now. I still have full HP. I don't know why that Persian pushed up, but he did. But we're starting to lose quite a few tanks across the north and the south here. Alright. I don't think he has the gun. Maybe he does have the gun to press the shooting. Didn't think he did, but that was a little bit of an oversight on my part. I knew I could penetrate him there in the lower places, though. Crap. Didn't really account for the Kang Panzer over here. Of course, he's pushing up a little bit. Ooh, I'm in a bad spot, too. Very, very bad spot. I need to fall back a little bit before I get shot by 2 or 3 different sides. Don't know why this E-25's pushing up like this, but nonetheless he is. He does have pretty good shots here, but now I'm left trying to keep both of these guys off of us. Let's hope this guy does not push any further towards our side, because we're in a little bit of trouble then. But since we're down by a little bit, I'm just waiting for the enemy to make a mistake, hopefully. I'd appreciate it if our team actually fell a little bit back to the north and the south. That way I could get some shots on them too from here. I'm going to try to see if I have anything from here. Might have, I thought I might have had one on the Cromwell. I hope that OI does not push. Unfortunately, I made it a little bit over here, a little bit too late. I wish I had pushed over a few seconds sooner. But let's see how this goes here. Ah, God damn it, there's an E-25 behind me? Are you kidding me? Fortunately, they have a Lorraine RD2. This is not going well, but might as well make it interesting. Let's get him out of the way. Do a little bit of damage to him, but once we lost those guys in the south, we're pretty screwed. I wish I had tried something a little bit sooner, but it was definitely my bad there, being a little bit too passive. Oh well. Alright, so at least I did a little bit of damage, but still, I could have did a little bit more for holding the front line for my team. 2,851 damage. Almost the most in the match, but still a little bit crappy there as far as how aggressive I played there. Pull out the old trusty KV-5 here. But yeah, unfortunately, the Kang Panzer is kind of a knockoff of the E-25, just a tier higher and a lot larger, but it kind of sucks that Wargaming won't really rebalance premiums that need it. I get that they sold them and they don't want to piss people off, but something like the E-25, even though it's not for sale anymore, so many people have it, it's a tank that should be rebalanced. Even though it's going to HD, or it's already in HD, they should have just fixed its size and made it historical, which it would basically increase, I think, by about 30% its overall size. It wouldn't be the end of the world for it, but it would have helped a little bit, and I don't know. Just, I get the World of Tanks. It's pretty well balanced as far as I'm concerned, but there are some special occasions where specific tanks get preferential treatment. Hopefully you kind of got the tank I'm pointing towards, since that tank's getting a pretty big armor buff, even though it doesn't need it in the next patch when it goes to a full HD model. So it seems like everybody is out again in their rentals. I guess I should have counted for that, since a lot of them have very high penetration, and KV-5 kind of relies on tanks that can't really penetrate. It's overall good armor, but a lot of holes, and the PZ-58 can kind of chew you apart in this. Alright, Mr. FV304, slow things down there a little bit. Soviet steel coming to the rescue. Or should I say, what a lot of people say, strong. I don't particularly like that word. I don't know why, but I don't. Alright, so IS-3, you're stuck now, of course. I want to push around, I want to help you, but you're making it a little bit difficult by making it impossible for me to get around you. Come on, buddy. I know I'm pushing you out here. I don't like when people do this to me, but you're holding us out of artillery cover here. It's going to take a little bit. Okay, maybe he's not going to get that M46 out. I guess I'll have to go. There we go. Now I can hopefully not get torn to shreds here by a... I'm gonna focus on the guys over here, but unfortunately we're kind of surrounded right about now. I'm trying to focus on lesser HP opponents. This is not going to end too well for us. Yeah, that ruined my plan. I was planning on pushing up north. Not that it would save me that much. Maybe I can tank one more shot here. Nah. But unfortunately, the enemy had a lot more tanks there, and not to blame it on IS-3, but I was trying to get around here to prevent the enemy from pushing. But I get that he got tracked, but dude, just let one of us by. Like, there's one tank, there's two of us, take him out. But that did not start out well at all. Alright, so tier 7. Let me get my AT here. Alright, so Himmelsdorf. Not a bad map for this, but the AT-15A, I kind of like staying a little bit further away from enemies and not fighting in towns. It can turn pretty well, and it has a decent left and right movement on its gun, but your weak spots are really easy to hit up close, and unfortunately, Himmelsdorf, you usually play a little closer, and I'm going to end up setting over in this area most likely. First match in the T-29, hopefully he can't see from here. It looks like he has the stock turret.
Let's go.
That Spartan name sounds familiar. I think he was in one of my last battles. Again, if there's any specific tanks anybody wants me to play, feel free to mention them in chat, or if you have any questions, or else I'm just going to randomly be picking premium tanks here. Working towards 6 million credits to get that Chinese tier 10 medium out of the way. You gonna come back, Mr. E25? It looks like you are. And unfortunately, I missed you.
Enemy is hit. Crack hit.
Well, at least I hit the T-29. Don't know who else is back there, but hoping my armor can somewhat save me here.
We're immobilized.
T1 heavy, I can tank some shots from him.
We fixed
I don't know if we're particularly shooting at him on purpose, but we did a little bit of damage to him. Now, unfortunately, not tall enough to shoot through that rubble. Okay, man. Not too worried about you, but I'm still going to keep my eye on you. We got a T-37 over there as well. Alright, there we go. That's the guy I wanted to start getting some shots on back here. I was wondering who was way back there getting shots on me. Not too concerned about the T-37 on my right. I can just barely angle into him and he'll have a difficult time penetrating me. More concerned about them. Saving my repair kit just in case if I end up in a situation where I get tracked and get flanked. Mr. T-29. Alright, thanks for sticking out there for me. let's get in the fight here. They're getting chased by a KV-3. That's not good. Alright, there we go.
Enemy armor destroyed.
Smooth sailing from here, hopefully. But so far, so good. T-37, yep, he's not a problem. Got a KV-1S on my right and a couple tanks to my left I gotta worry about. That helps out a little bit here. Saves me the trouble of having to pick to go right or left. It's a pretty decent game damage-wise. Matches like this where you don't have any tier 8s or 9s, even though you can't exactly face 9s in this, armor works out pretty well. You just have to kind of stick at range or else people can hit your weak spots somewhat effectively. Other than that, you have a really good gun. Your penetration isn't bad for facing off against tier 7s and lower. And yeah, it's a pretty damn good tank as far as I'm concerned. If you ever have the chance of buying it, or if you like British TDs, it's well worth a purchase. Alright, so we got a Mastery Badge 2nd Class here, Steel Wall Award, Cool Head Award. All in all, most amount of damage on my team. E25 just barely beat me out on the enemy team, and deflected 2,720 damage. Not too bad. Alright, so when do I hop into a... Alright, tier 6. Okay. Maybe I will play the T-37, to be honest. I need to try to grind out a little bit of experience on this. I'm just so close to the Bulldog, but I don't play the T-37 too much to get through it quickly. Alright, so we got Fjords here. Or Fjords. Actually just completed a map strategy for this over on Wakuru.com. Not exactly the best map in the world for light tanks, but you can kind of make things happen if you're lucky enough to where your team can hold certain areas. I'm going to test my luck over in this E5 area.
Time to roll out.
But sometimes in lights you can spot a little bit out in this area right here. It's just, I'm not particularly fond of doing that, just because I don't trust my team too much to actually utilize it effectively. I mean, I hope I can get down in here and get a couple shots on a few tanks in the south. Yeah, tank's designed for midgets because it's too small. See if we can get something here. You never know, the enemy doesn't necessarily have to move through this area. But, alright, somebody either shot that or destroyed it. I'm going with shot because I would have seen that. Ooh, holy crap, our whole team dove right into the center. Don't know if I particularly would have did that, but kind of gave up our advantage of pushing the north pretty hard. But hopefully gonna get a little bit of damage, even though this OHO has pretty good amount of armor there. Alright, so I'm gonna move things along here, hopefully. I was hoping they would push hard north and we'd have a slight advantage there, but oh well. Alright, Mr. T-29, you wanna come around and play with me? At least I got this M46's attention here.
Enemy armor is hit. Enemy fuel tank is
It's
hit.
gotta be a little bit.
Fire.
Ooh, got it.
Enemy is hit.
Never mind. Got a couple shots there, but definitely worried about M46, of course. I think he's a little bit angry at me though. So I'm gonna pull back a hair. Maybe he's gonna push into me. He's thinking about it. His AMX,
Critical hit.
that critical hit did not help me out here.
We've lost some ammo, but at least it didn't explode.
Nor did that ammo
Enemy
rack.
armor is damaged.
Goddamn autoloader. But fortunately,
Barely see
I
through the
should
scope.
be good here unless this T-29 gets me.
Enemy vehicle destroyed.
Alright, now we're kind of snowballing here. Enemy's kind of breaking through the north now though, so they can still
Penetration.
come out on top here if we're not careful. Just want to be a little bit careful here, and I don't want to take any more damage than I already
We
have.
didn't penetrate their armor.
Alright,
Enemy armor is hit.
just gonna slam the brakes on here since they saw me.
Critical hit.
Sorry, Mr. E25. So things are starting to go south here for us. We're still ahead. I like where our team's set up though, but I'm gonna... Welcome back, Zach. I'm actually gonna go on the cap since I don't have a ton of HP. Our team's doing well, but I just want to kind of cement this, and I can potentially pull a couple people back to their base. As long as this guy... Oh god, this guy is a bot.
Penetration.
That's not good for me.
Penetration.
But fortunately,
Enemy is hit.
I can just barely
Lost half our gas.
outrun him, potentially. But if I died by a bot, this is going to be embarrassing. Whew, whew, whew. 11 HP. But, oh, thank you, E25. But, like, bots, while they are bad, they can be bad for light tanks with the amount of HP I had pushing into one. But yeah, that guy is definitely a bot there. Unfortunately though, with that one reset he got on me, we're just barely lagging behind, and our team didn't end up going back to the base. Unless this IS-2 can make something happen. He's got a couple seconds here. Come on dude, you can do it. Nope, a little bit too late. Oh well. I guess I should have went back to base, but unfortunately our team took a little bit too long in the center. I wasn't really accounting for that. But fault lies on me too. So master your bad service. And somehow I did the most amount of damage in the match at 1,806 and assisted with a little bit too. Alright, so why don't we hop into something. Well, we'll play the Comet here. Yeah, Fjords is not the easiest map in the world for a light tank, but fortunately the area I went to, you can make it happen as long as if you have support, which I did, and you can really annoy people who were that T-29 and that Patton medium in the south, and you can kind of cause a little bit of problems for them, and fortunately our team broke through there. Alright, so I'm going to try to push into the south, mainly because I think my team's going to need my help down there. So let's see how this goes. Going to try to build up a decent amount of speed going down here, and then going to hang a right pretty quickly. I could push up there, but that's little iffy in the Comet. I've seen it done though in quite a few tanks that are not tier 9 or 10. Yeah, it would be nice if bots kind of went away in World of Tanks and World of Warships, but there's something that every online game has, unfortunately, like this. We'll give that guy credit, he almost killed me. He's probably going to be happy when he checks back on his computer in several hours. So unfortunately this IS-3 made it over. Hi buddy. That was a bad shot on my part. Now I gotta worry about artillery and also taking a few shots that I'd rather not from this IS-3. Thought I might have got a hit on that AMX, but nope. Come on, IS-3, you know you want to come and shoot me. Unfortunately, our arties are both in the same spot without a very good shot on this guy. Which is a little sad because I went here kind of expecting a little bit of help from artillery.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
Didn't penetrate him, but now we got an E-25 over here. Mainly concerned about him though. But unfortunately I can't. My stream is not receiving data for some reason. Yeah, for whatever reason it said something went wrong. I didn't change anything on my end. I guess there's a little bit of a snowstorm coming my way, so maybe something got knocked down along the way. But yeah, unfortunately, I thought trying to gain this spot would have helped my team, but everyone except for this IS-2 stayed tucked behind the corner. Arties tucked in a spot where they couldn't hit them, and so goes history. But at least Fire Dog here. He's still alive, chugging along here. Man, it's kind of weird. For whatever reason, it's... I don't know why it's hopping around everywhere. But hopefully it... I don't know. Hopefully it stays stable here. It's like on my end, it's not saying I'm dropping any frames and whatnot. I don't really know what the case is right now. Unfortunately, though, with the way I have the stream set up right now, I can't exactly hit stop and restart here. I would change my bitrate or something on my end, as far as with OBS, the streaming program I use, but it's not saying anything's wrong with me sending the data. It's something in between me and Google right now. But hopefully it stays decent for the last hour here. You can do it. One more shot. Aww. Alright, so let's hop into... let's see, maybe a Super Persian. So pretty good match. As far as Fire Dog, a little bit better than me, but definitely these guys carried us to a win here. Still made a little bit of profit. I'll take that. Super Persian, compared to the newer Patton Premium, I still think the Super Persian is a little bit better. It's not exactly the prototypical medium tank. However, Frontal armor is excellent, just has the weak spots, of course, on the turret, especially on the top of the turret, but the gun, pretty good. It lacks a little bit of penetration without APCR, which the APCR round is the historical round, since Super Persian, as far as I know, did not fire a typical AP round, and the penetration found here in the APCR is what it actually fired, but of course in World of Tanks they needed some premium rounds, so it got pushed to there, and AP was kind of shoehorned as the standard round. But in any event here, let me see where my team ends up. I might head north, but I will head south if we don't have that many people down there, since we don't really have any higher tier heavy tanks. Yeah, I'm going to end down in the south here. I don't particularly want to go down here because we're going to be facing off against IS-3, IS-6, possibly low, T-32, which, of course, actually being heavy tanks will be a little bit better down here, but hopefully our north does well enough, since it is kind of easy to push from this side in the north, as long as they can kind of two-prong attack the enemy up there. So hopefully they play it right, because if the enemy plays like usually it plays out on Arctic region here, we're only going to be able to hold them off for so long. Okay, Mr. Panzer, it'd be nice if we can get you out here early on. Why are you pushing so hard, dude?
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Yeah, this is not a good spot for me. Not a good spot. Not at all. Here we go. I just wanted to make my way down here. Maybe I didn't. Hello, Mr. IS-6. Maybe I did not want to go down here. Fortunately, I have a little bit of help with this tank destroyer with me. Unfortunately, he just... Ooh, somebody got killed. Or damaged. Crap, that was not a good shot on my part. There we go. Nice job, dude. Yeah, unfortunately, my APCR did not want to shoot there, but unfortunately I did. Alright, so we still have a decent amount of people here. This IS-3 looks like he's going to peel off and come our way, which unfortunately for him, he's once again going to isolate himself. Ooh. Sorry, buddy. That was my bad. I did not mean to tap you there. I'm going to try to... Crap. I tried to help you out, but in the end, I unfortunately led to your death. This is why people shouldn't follow me. Try to keep my gun into his gun and hope for the best here. Oop. I'm going to pull back a little bit just because his artillery is capable of helping him. Mine isn't. Alright. Go. Yeah, thought I might have got lucky there, but... Oh god, no, 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 you're one-shottable. Alright, so we're not out of this just yet. Maybe premium. Never mind. I was not expecting him. I did not see him at all. Oh well. I could have played that a little bit differently against that IS-3, but... Oh well. I made a few mistakes, and unfortunately they were pretty big mistakes against that IS-3. Alrighty now. Alright. Leave it up to him to pick the next tank here, since I've been picking quite a few of them. Alright, so tier 8 again. Preferential. Why don't I hop into the IS-6 too? I haven't played that in a while. I guess I could have hit battle. Oh well. But a little bit under an hour here, so if there's any specific tanks you'd like me to play, feel free to mention them. Even if they are a little bit higher tier, I will gladly play them towards the end. Yep, thanks for sticking around, Zach. Nice chatting with you again. Yep, see you next week. Come on, countdown. There we go. No artillery, we have to win the hill. This is one of those encounter modes where if you don't win the hill, you're kind of not completely screwed, but unless the enemy has a lot of arty where you can get stuck on the hill and kind of barraged, but if there's no artillery, if you don't win the hill, 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose the match here. Yeah, don't know why that guy says that. Ooh, nice spot there early on by that T-49. I actually saw those gold missions. I don't think they're necessarily a bad thing. Alright guys, you two are blocking some vital real estate here. I guess I could have headed left, but oh well. Alright, I do not... Maybe I'm a little too short. Did not want to get hit by his gun. But I'm trying to make it up the hill here. It's just unfortunately I was kind of stuck there. Not that I'm going to reach all the gold missions, but I don't log into World of Tanks a lot of times between my streams, but I do plan on playing. I need to catch up on some regular videos this upcoming week. Ooh, that shot looks like it went way too high there. Yeah, unfortunately we're still kind of lagging behind with our slower tanks. Enemy has more of their tanks, of course. I'm actually going to swap over to a couple APCR here since I'm going to be shooting at a lot of turrets here, it looks like. I do prefer being on this side though compared to the other side when it comes to plating around. The other side, as you see, gets kind of stuck in that little bowl there, and I find it to be a little bit harder to push from that bowl than from where we are at. Alright, I think to get him out. It's 112 though, he's got some pretty nifty frontal armor on him. So is that IS-2 apparently, but I hit his side turret. APCR is not exactly the best dealing at angled pieces of armor either. Let's see if I can... God damn it. I don't know why I shot at that Centurion. And I'm a little bit too close to the edge, unfortunately. Yeah, let's just get this going with. Push right here, save my shot till I got a decent side shot there. You gotta worry a little bit about their TDs, so that's why I didn't push completely down here. It'd be nice if nobody comes in front of me. There we go. Now I'm just gonna start inching forward. That T-10's, of course, is in the front, which is good for me. Not particularly good for him, but at least he has decent armor. Thought I'd be able to go through that Centurion, since higher elevation, even with AP, but guess not. Guess I should shoot at something that I have a little bit Nah, never mind. Can't aim at him, of course. Here we go. I don't feel like stopping, so I'm just going to keep on trudging forward here. Since we have this big of a lead, I'm not even going to bother with switching over to APCR if I can't penetrate somebody reliably. Since IS-6 is a little bit reliant upon it at times because AP does lack penetration somewhat. Grant, some of these tanks I... Okay, thanks for M103. Nice little nudge there. I had a pretty good shot on him, but messed up a little bit since I got nudged. Thanks a lot, Conway, for drowning. It sounds like Kanye West, something like he would do. Don't know. There's that T-20. Okay. He's all the way back there. He ran pretty damn early, too, in the match. I'm pretty sure he was up on the hill and he ran away, but it could have been some other tank, and I could be mistaken here. But in any event, at least we won. I definitely bounced a few shots I shouldn't have, but eh. Mastery Badge, 3rd class. 1,800 damage. Fire Dog did pretty damn good. 3,200. 3,300 essentially. Block a little bit, spot it for a little bit. As far as the Super Persian match go, we lost that, of course. Doesn't look like our northern flank ever came back. Low under 2,000 damage and not too much else there. Alright, let's see, is there any other premiums I haven't exactly played? Higher tier ones? There is the Type 62. Oh, I played the Type 60 or Type 59 again. Whoops, never mind. Alright, top tier 6. Where's my trusty KV2? Played this a little bit earlier and lost, but did a crap ton of damage. I actually like being low tier in this, but I'll take high tier. But 2 enemy KV2s, so gotta be a little bit careful here. And of course 2 SPGs. I'm mainly concerned about that FV304. He can really do a doozy on me and keep me semi-permanently tracked. So I have about 45 minutes left here if anybody wants any specific tanks or if you have any questions. I'm probably going to end up right in this area. Gives me the most cover from SPGs, and usually there's a decent amount of tanks to shoot from there as well. So we got a couple people behind me, of course, so I don't particularly like pushing too hard in this area. I think it's a little bit better if you play it slower, just so you don't push too far into the enemy early on. But with this amount of people here, we just might have to do that. I don't want to be the first one around, but unfortunately I'm the first one up here. Oh god.
Пробит контужен. Радиус связи снижен.
Thank you so much, KB1. That was not appreciated. I don't even... He kind of freaked out when he saw all of us, but he still whacked me. But at least he took out those two modules and crews instead of something more important. Let's see if I... Never mind. And I missed him. Oh well. Don't know who else is on the beach, but there's more than that KV-1S. Yep, there's more than that KV-1S. I'm gonna pull back, actually. Can't expect these two guys to effectively fight off all these people. And I'm very tempted to drop down here on them. But it's not late in the match and we have a huge advantage, so I'm not going to do that. Although, yeah, I'm not going to throw the match for my team by doing something that boneheaded. Come on, Mr. Rudy, stay right there, please, or not. But yeah, if we're a little bit more ahead and there wasn't a slight chance of losing, I would have dropped off of that cliff on them. But instead, I'm gonna take the slightly slower approach. Really nice of the enemy to kind of focus almost all their main tanks on the beach for us. That definitely helped us out a bit. Alright, so I expected him to push, but I was hoping he wouldn't push that far down. But oh well. I'm gonna try to take out this SU-100. God damn it. A little bit pissed at myself for letting him slip away.